Welcome to the Always Bayern Chelsea show. My name is Danny. I'm a Bayern Munich fan, and these Bayern Munich transfer rumors are just getting out of control. So let's break down each and every one of these players in a tiered based system and roll the intro music. As I said, this is the Always Bayern Chelsea show. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube. This is a video episode of the show where I will be sharing my screen if all the tech works right and doing a visual tiered based system for each and every player that Bayern Munich has been rumored to in this transfer window, or as many as I can come up with, because I feel like there's brand new rumors every day. So again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Jim, my co-host on this show, usually is a Chelsea fan, and we're gonna have a lot of cool videos coming out this summer. I'm gonna make a thank you letter, heartfelt, emotional message to Thomas Muller in video format. We're gonna do a "What did you learn from the Club World Cup" for both Bayern and Chelsea with Jim. And we're also going to be doing preseason predictions and just all that stuff to kind of gear you up for the upcoming season and keep you up to date with all the news, all the rumors, everything going forward. And yeah, one more thing to mention before we get going here is most of these players are attacking players. Bayern's biggest hole right now is at that left wing position, but also the Musiala injury kind of complicates things a little bit centrally. Obviously, you lose Leroy Sané, you lose Thomas Muller, and that's where I'm going to be focusing for this video because that's where most of the rumors have been, and that's where Bayern's current transfer strategy is at the moment. Let's just jump right into it. I'm going to rank these players on a tiered based system, S being top, godly, untouchable, then, A, B, C, D below that. And just a caveat here, I'm going to kind of be judging this based off of how good I think the player is, but also how they would fit into Bayern Munich's current system under Vincent Kompany and maybe a little bit of need for their particular style of play and role and position and whatnot. So it's not just like straight up, I think this player sucks, I'm putting him super low. Like I said, maybe if I don't think they're a good fit for Bayern, that'd be a reason to put them lower. So, hey, but please leave a comment if you do not agree with me. That's okay. Or if you do agree with me, also leave a comment. And I go down there, read them all, respond to them all, and I like the conversations that we have down there in the comment section. Trying to build a community here at Always Bayern Chelsea. So again, just thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing and all that stuff. And let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with the two transfers that are official. They've been official for a while for Bayern Munich. And the first one being Tom Bischof here. That was actually in the winter. The news broke about Tom Bischof coming this summer to Bayern on a free transfer. And right now, I'm actually going to put him in the C tier, and that might sound a little harsh because I think that Bischof is a great player and could really do great things for Bayern Munich. I like his versatility. He said recently that he sees himself maybe more as a 6, but I kind of see him more as an 8. And even in his past, he's played attacking midfield, like that 10 spot. Potentially, you could move him out to a wing if you had to. I don't think that's his best position, but I think the potential's there based off his profile. And it was a free transfer, so great business by Bayern Munich. They liked the kid for a while. I'm glad that they got him. The reason I'm putting him at a C right now is just because I don't know if Bayern Munich really has a plan for him. And maybe long term they do, but it just doesn't seem like this season they have a plan for him whatsoever, and that's concerning to me. I think that's been the thorn in Bayern Munich's side for transfers for a while. And not all transfers, of course, but there's a lot of guys where Bayern gets them, and do they really have a plan for them? João being a great example of that. It seems like Bayern Munich got him last summer just because they promised him they were going to get him. And I guess they are loyal enough to do that. So they brought in João. Clearly no plan for him under Vincent Kompany. I mean, the guy can hardly sniff the pitch. Obviously, he's been impacted by injuries and whatnot, but it's concerning to spend so much money on a player and then not have a plan for them. Granted, like I said, Tom Bischof was a free transfer and I like his skill set. So I'm starting off with maybe a little bit of a controversial take, putting him in that C spot. I just think Bayern Munich's midfield is overloaded right now. And maybe if you sell Palhinha, if you sell Goretzka next year, then Bischof could become a B or maybe even an A type of a transfer. But just right now, it's just tough for me to see where he fits in. I just see Kimmich and Pavlovic being the starting two center backs. Huh, whoops, midfielders in that 4-2-3-1 midfield pivot. And I see Goretzka above Bischoff in the pecking order right now, and then you still have Polina, and then you still have Limer clogging up that midfield. So that's why I'm putting Bischoff at a C right now. But moving on to the next one, Jonathan Tah at a B. And I've talked about Jonathan Tah a little bit on this show already. I'm not the biggest Tah fan out there in this world, but I'm putting him in the B tier. Again, free transfer. It's just good business. It really is. And it's no secret that Bayern Munich needs a center back, partially because, hey, Eric Dyer left, and you have Upamecano and Kim Min-jae, but the last two seasons they've been run into the ground and they haven't been healthy, and they also just haven't been the most consistent. Now last year I thought Upa had a great season. It was very, very consistent, stepped up in the big moments. Kim not so much. I don't know if he necessarily could handle all of what Kompany's system asks for at that center back position in terms of how much ground they have to cover, in terms of how aggressive their positioning has to be. Kim just made a lot of mistakes, quite frankly, with his positioning. And I think Ta comes in and he'll probably be the starter alongside Upamecano. We'll see what happens with Kim. I'm in favor of keeping Kim right now just because I think there needs to be a rotation at the center back position, a true rotation. I'm not saying every match you have to have somebody different starting, but I just think to keep these guys fresh for this long and grinding season, which it is, and all these guys, Upamecano, Ta, and Kim, they all play for their national teams as well. They all start for their national teams, so don't forget that. These guys have just been run into the ground, and I want to see a rotation, and I think Ta can help with that. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, I think he's maybe a little bit of a step up from Kim, but not that big of a step up. And I think the biggest area where Ta is a step up from Kim is his leadership and his communication. He's just been a proven leader, German national team, Bayer Leverkusen, and he's a good communicator. He's a good leader, but I think he makes a lot of those same positional mistakes that Kim makes. So I'm going to put him at that B position for now. I'm also going to talk about a few guys that got away because Bayern spent, in some cases, years chasing these guys. And I think it's just important to mention them in this video, which is hopefully going to be an overall scope of Bayern's transfer window. And now watch, there'll be some breaking news that happens as I record this or when I'm editing it or something. And maybe there'll be another guy rumored, or maybe somebody will have signed. And what I say in this video will just go out the window. But anyways, yes, Florian Wirtz. I showed Jim my predicted tier for this video with all these transfers, and the first thing he said was, "Wow, pretty salty," including Florian Wirtz in there. And yeah, maybe, probably, but Florian Wirtz is the S tier in this show. I don't want to hold you out here thinking I'm gonna drop some bombshell crazy name in that S tier, but no, it's Florian Wirtz, and I put him there because Wirtz, again, Bayer Leverkusen star, signed with Liverpool, so he will not be going to Bayern Munich. But again, I want to just put him in here because he is the one and only game-changing player that Bayern could have signed this summer, where you drop him in that attack, you drop him alongside Harry Kane, Michael Olise, Jamal Musiala, and Bayern has the best attack in the world. Point blank, period. Better than Madrid, better than City, better than this, that, and the other. You add Florian Wirtz to this Bayern Munich attack, and it is instantly the best in the world. He's the only player available that would elevate Bayern Munich's attack to that level. We're seeing more and more rumors come out about why the Wirtz transfer did not happen. My thoughts on it are that Uli Hoeneß and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge were a little too cocky, a little too overconfident that they would be getting Florian Wirtz the ways of old, where Bayern Munich get all of the up-and-coming German talent that they want, are out the door. Those are outdated. That's an outdated way of thinking if you're a boss at Bayern Munich. And I think that the way that Bayern handled Thomas Muller and just the way that Bayern is handling this transfer market, to me, shows that they really thought they were going to get Wirtz and they didn't have much of a contingency plan. So, um, I think that Bayern was in a rock and a hard place. I think that they promised Jamal Musiala the 10 role to get him to sign his contract. And, a lot of these reports coming out, Slot's vision for Wirtz was a lot better than Kompany's, so that's why he chose Liverpool. Yes, maybe, but I don't blame Kompany at all for this because, like I said, I think that Bayern promised Musiala the 10, and what's Kompany going to do to Wirtz? Go in there and lie and say, you'll be the central figure of our attack? It's just not the case. Whereas at Liverpool, he will be that number 10. He will be that central figure of their attack. Obviously, they have great guys like Mo Salah out on the right wing, but he's a right winger, and Florian Wirtz will be at the 10. So that's why he chose Liverpool in my mind. It's not Kompany's fault, even though, yes, Kompany's strategic vision for Florian Wirtz going forward wasn't what he wanted. Again, it is what it is, and I don't think the Kompany could have made a promise to him that wasn't true. Moving on now with a couple of more guys that we won't be seeing at Bayern Munich, but there's been so much talk about them, and there's been so many rumors, and Bayern spent so much time chasing ghosts, in my opinion. Let me just start with Nico Williams. He would have been a B tier candidate for Bayern Munich. Nico Williams, I think, would have fit in Kompany's system super well. I think he would have been great for Bayern. Potentially A. The only reason I'm putting him in the B is because I think he's a little bit more unpolished than some of these other guys. He's younger. Obviously, he's great with Spain, but he is not producing a lot at Bilbao, which is where he just signed an extension for. Yes, after playing Bayern Munich, Bayern chasing Nico Williams all summer long, chasing a ghost, and he ends up staying with Bilbao because he wanted Barca, and Barca couldn't pay him due to their registration fiasco. So, Nico Williams, B tier, I think would have been very good for Bayern and would have fit well in the system, but again, a little young, a little unpolished there. And Bradely Barcola next. He's going in the A tier. I think Barcola would have fit perfectly with Bayern Munich as well. He would have been that just under the S tier kind of guy who could elevate Bayern's attack from where it is right now. Again, just I think would have fit perfect in Bayern, but he's not coming to Bayern. And I think it was a waste of time to chase him as hard as Bayern did because obviously he's not moving from PSG. They have a super team, even though he doesn't start. I think he's part of their plans going forward. He's super young. He's a talented left winger. And yeah, he's going there at the A tier. Next up, let's look at some guys that it does look like Bayern Munich is more heavily linked to. And again, like all this stuff here is rumors. There's conflicting reports seemingly day after day, but these next couple guys I'm going to talk about, let's just say where there's smoke, there's fire. I do believe that Bayern is seriously looking at these guys, and reports are confirming that bids have been flying in. So let's start here with Nick Woltemade. I'm going to put him at the B tier. It's no secret if you've been listening to this show that I am a fan of Woltemade. I'm not a fan, though, of just overpaying for him for no reason, which is what it seems like Stuttgart is going to make Bayern Munich do. Even though Woltemade wants to join Bayern by all accounts, Stuttgart is asking outrageous money for him. You see Arsenal paying 70 million for Victor Gyokeres. Bayern obviously paid 100 million for Harry Kane. And those are the kind of figures that Stuttgart reportedly are asking for Nick Woltemade. So outrageous. I think he's a good player. He's a great young player. I think he could fit well at Bayern in terms of potentially being the long-term successor for Harry Kane. Also playing a little bit of the 10 potentially with Jamal Musiala being injured, maybe being able to slide over to left wing if you need him to, but that's not his bread and butter. I don't think he would play left wing like a Bayern Munich left winger, or even how Vincent Kompany wants a left winger to play. So basically a kind of 10 backup striker, maybe false nine kind of hybrid role at Bayern Munich, and I see that working out for him. But I mean, the guy had really a half of a good season so far. Again, he's super young. I love his talent, super promising, but he's had a half of a good season so far, and you're going to be asking 80 to 100 million for him if you're Stuttgart. I mean, that is outrageous. absolutely outrageous, and Bayern shouldn't pay that. I think 50 to 60 million is a fair price. If you really like him, go out and pay 60, maybe 70, but that's pushing it. I think he's a great player. And I do think that Bayern Munich, if they want him, go ahead and get him now because you don't want to get Florian Wirtz. You don't want to think, oh yeah, all the top German talent's going to come to us. Let's just let a Stuttgart, a Leverkusen, another team develop him for us, and then we'll go out and get him. Just get him now. He wants to go to Bayern, and his price tag, if he, is the guy that you think he is just going to go up and up and up and up. Next, Luis Diaz, I'm putting him in the C position as well. Bayern Munich is going hard after him right now by all reports. Bayern is offering Liverpool in that 60 to 70 million range. Liverpool is saying, get out of here. We're not going to sell him to you. But Bayern is desperately trying to fund the Florian Wirtz and other transfers that Liverpool has been making. I know that they didn't make many transfers last summer, hardly any, I think. But I don't know where they have this money. They're making all these huge, huge transfers this summer, and it's totally smart business if you're Liverpool, I think, because I think they're going to be untouchable in England. Sorry, Jim. I think Chelsea will finish up there in the Premier League, but I think Liverpool is going to be untouchable. But you would also think after all these signings, Liverpool is going to have to offload some guys. And we're seeing reports about Diaz to Bayern heat up every day. First it was personal terms agreed, then it was Bayern submitted a bid, got rejected, then it was Bayern submitted another bid, got rejected. And now it's kind of inching towards that, hey, Diaz wants to leave and kind of get it done, guys. You still have Barcelona lurking in the shadows, maybe waiting to see what Bayern can offer and then trying to beat that. But Barcelona, man, their registration issues are killer, and I have no idea the financial law that's going on in Spain right now permitting them from making these moves, but it really doesn't seem like they're going to be able to register many guys. So that's all TBD. That's all up in the air. But yeah, I'm gonna put him in that C category. Maybe kind of up in the B range. It might be a little harsh seeing him down there in C, but I just don't think he elevates Bayern that much. I think that the transition to Germany might be tough. I mean, I'm assuming he speaks some English being in the Premier League, but it's usually tougher for Spanish guy or Spanish speaking guys, I should say. I believe he's Colombian. To make the move over to Germany, it's usually easier to have them move over to Spain, where they obviously speak Spanish, like at Barcelona. So I'm not like ruling him out or anything because of that. I don't know if I really see him upping the level at Bayern Munich that much. I think he's sort of in that mold of what Kompany wants in a left winger. But again, like you got to remember, Bayern Munich had Sane last year, who I know a lot of fans absolutely hate. And I'm not the biggest Sane fan. He missed a lot of 1v1s. That's like you can that's you can watch any game and you'll see him miss a 1v1 basically. But also, like Sane had a great work rate. He was great at tracking back. He was great at making the situations that got him into those one-on-ones, even though he missed a lot of them. But at the end of the day, Sane was a productive player, and Bayern's going to have to replace him. But I don't see Diaz, or why don't we just throw Cody Gakpo up there too? Because he's another Liverpool left winger who Bayern was linked to, but it sounds like they're way more convinced about Diaz at the moment. Both of those guys. And I think Diaz actually maybe profiles a little better for Bayern. I think Gakpo is maybe slightly more of a central attacking figure, but either way, I just don't see them elevating Bayern's attack a ton from Sane, Coman, Gnabry, which I know are the most hated guys outside of Goretzka in this fan base. It's just tough. I mean, I think Diaz would be a little bit of an upgrade, but I don't see him being the biggest upgrade in the world. And man, if we sign him, I hope I'm eating my words. I'm hoping he comes in and becomes the next Michael Olise, and I will support him as a fan, of course, of course, of course. But it's just tough. I mean, we're losing Muller, we're losing Sane, even a guy like Tell we're losing, and a lot of these guys that were rumored to in the transfer market, I just don't see upping our attack that much. And another guy that I think is in that category for me is going to be Rafael Leao, who has a lot of fans. I think like all these guys are decent signings. Diaz, Gakpo, Leao, I think they'd all be decent signings. But I just don't know, again, how much would they elevate our attack from the the space it was at last year. Sane, again, like him or not, was a productive player. Coman, I think his time at Bayern Munich is come and gone. I've said it a million times. He doesn't cross well. He doesn't finish well, and I want my wingers to do that. But he does have a role in this team. Company loves him, like it or not. Um, and he's good at beating a guy one on one. He's good at tracking back. And again, there's some level of production you're going to get from him. Rafael Leao, I think, is probably similar to Diaz, how I feel about him. Both of them, um, could help us and would certainly be great for depth. But again, are they going to push us up to that upper echelon of Champions League top competition? I just don't know. And Liao is another guy who I think operates a little bit better centrally. I think he's a little bit more, not like of a ball hog, but he kind of needs the ball at his feet. Where how many guys operating in that central position on the left-hand side can you have? I mean, you have Musiala who operates centrally, Kane operates centrally, Davies inverts and operates in that half space too, and then Michael Olise kind of cuts in a lot of times too. So, some of these guys I just don't see profiling very well at Bayern Munich. But let's move on to let's move on to Xavi Simons here. Yeah, Xavi Simons is another guy who has a lot of talent, a lot of raw talent, and I think he would be a good signing for Bayern Munich because of Jamal Musiala's injury. I'm putting him up in the B range because Xavi Simons is more of a 10 than a lot of these guys. But could also potentially play left wing. So I think at this point, we're seeing also like a price tag of 45-ish million lobbied out there for Simons, and that's not a bad price for the skill set that he has. You'd probably have to pay more like 50, 60, but again, for the time being, I think he could help Bayern with the Musiala the Musiala hole at the 10 right now, and also Thomas Muller sized hole at the 10 right now. I think that Xavi Simons could help you there as well as play left wing. Super exciting talent. Um, I don't know. There's some behind the scenes stuff with him. I've heard about potentially attitude issues. I don't want to go in on that because I'm obviously not 100% sure and I don't want to trash the guy, but um, to me there has to be a reason based off the raw talent that he has that teams aren't knocking down the door to sign him for that price. So I'll just leave it at that for Xavi Simons. Let's move on now to Eze, Crystal Palace's own. Yep, I'm throwing him in that A tier. Time to talk about a guy I'm excited about, and I wish Bayern would just go out and get him. I think he would be a guy who would elevate Bayern's attack quite a bit. I love what he offers in terms of crossing, in terms of, yeah, assisting, in terms of cutting in terms of shooting. I think he kind of just has it all in terms of the well-roundedness there, and I think he would be great for Bayern Munich's attack. I think as a Musiala, Kane, and Olise would be a deadly foursome at the top there. And hey, he's got that Crystal Palace chemistry with Michael Olise already. So bring in Eze. I feel like I've talked about him a good amount just because I like the guy so much. But yeah, I think he would be a guy that you could go out and get and a guy that you should go out and get if you're Bayern Munich. Let's move on now to Mitoma. I'm putting Mitoma in this D category. It might sound a little bit harsh. I think he's a good player. I think he's kind of a different profile than what Bayern has on that left wing, more of a dribbler guy. Um, and hey, he arguably had the Premier League goal of the year last year against Chelsea. I remember watching that one. Chelsea played Brighton last year, back to back in a cup match and a Premier League match, and it was one of those matches. But I think it was Premier League. But anyways, regardless, it was such an insane touch that he had to receive a long ball, get it, beat a defender, and then just bang in a shot. So there is a lot that I like about Matoma, but or I should say there is some stuff I like about Matoma, but again, this tier ranking is, do I think that they elevate Bayern Munich's attack where it's at right now? And no, I don't. I don't think he would elevate Bayern Munich's attack. I think he would be a nice depth piece to have, but do I think he's elevating their attack? No, I do not. Next up, let's move on to Christo Nkunku, Chelsea's very own Christopher Nkunku. C tier. Nkunku is somebody who I honestly would have had lower, like Simons, before Jamal Musiala's injury. At this point, if you can get Cristo for cheap, you might as well do it because he can play that 10. He can play that kind of second striker or like left-sided striker role as well as left wing. I do not think he profiles well as a left winger for Bayern Munich, for Vincent Kompany. I don't think he has that work rate to track back. I don't think he is a good touchline winger. I think he's good centrally. And again, you would use him in my mind. If I was manager, you would use him at that 10 role while Musiala's out. You could use him as a backup to Harry Kane as well. So if you don't get a Waldemata, if you don't get a Xavi Simons, there is room for a Christopher Nkunku at Bayern Munich. But otherwise, I just don't see it working out long term. Again, you got to have a plan. You got to have a long-term vision for these guys, and I don't see Nkunku working out long-term at Bayern, but I do think he has some nice talent that you could use in the meantime to kind of fill some of these holes that you have at Bayern. And now we're moving on to Trossard from Arsenal. Arsenal fans, if you're watching this, I am sorry. I have some sort of a bias against Arsenal. I just do. Um, Part of it might have been that Champions League match where everybody in the media was telling me, oh, Arsenal is going to whoop Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarterfinals. This is Bayern's worst team in a decade. This is Arsenal's best team in a decade. They're going to wipe the floor with you foolish Germans. Premier League supremacy, rah, rah, rah. And then Bayern beat them. And in that match, Arsenal, I've said this a lot. So again, Arsenal fans, I don't mean to be super, super tough on you. Gonzo from the German football spotlight. I'm sorry. But Arsenal looked like boys in that match, and Bayern Munich looked like men. And ever since that, there's some anti-Arsenal bias going on in here. Again, Gonzo, I'm so, so sorry, but I don't see Trossard fitting in the Bayern Munich system at all under Company. I think this is more of like a weak rumor, too. I don't think there's a lot of weight to it, but I decided I would throw him in at this video in the D tier. And hey, why don't we round out this D tier with one more? Yep, it's Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford. Again, I don't think he would fit in very well at Bayern Munich. I don't think he would be elevating the squad that much. So he's there in the D tier. Not a great profile for Bayern. Also, all the off the field stuff, I'm just not sure about making the move to Bayern to Germany for these guys. I'm just unsure about it. So D tier for those guys. I'm sorry if you're a fan of any one of these players. Sound off in the comments. We can have a conversation. Maybe I'm wrong about them. It's just how I feel right now. And finally, let's move on to Rodrygo, the final player I want to talk about. Real Madrid, left winger Rodrygo. He's in the A tier. I think he would be great for Bayern as well. I think his profile fits in very well with Company. I think it fits with the Bayern Munich system, and I think his skill level is there. I'm a little bit skeptical if he really wants the move to Germany, but if he does, if he's at all available, some reports say he is, go out and get him. Another guy who I think would be great, great, great for Bayern Munich. So let's go ahead and throw him at the A tier. Again, let's just recap this tier for Bayern Munich transfers. Starting at the S tier, the golden goose, Florian Wirtz. Uh, I was gonna say I'm done talking about Wirtz now, but who knows? Maybe something will come up and I'll have to talk about him again. Congrats, Liverpool, you got a good one. A tier, Bradely Barcola. He's not coming to Bayern Munich, but wanted to talk about him anyways. Eze, Rodrygo would both be great options if available. Bayern, go hard to get them, please, please, please. B tier, Jonathan Tah, Nico Williams, Nick Woltemade, Xavi Simons. C tier, Tom Bischof, Diaz, Gapko, Leao, Cristo Nkunku. D tier, Mitoma, Trossard, Rashford. And I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen. If I missed anybody, please sound off and maybe we will talk about them at the next episode. Again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This has been the Always Bayern Chelsea show. Usually my co-host Jim is on here talking about Chelsea Football Club, and it's a good time. So again, we got a ton of cool stuff coming for you in the summer transfer window. That's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Mia san mia.